ராம 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 जानकी कांत स्मरणं जय विघ्न विनायक मूर्ति की शारदा देवी की वल्ली देवसेना कांत स्मरणं नमः पार्वती पतये जय पराशक्ति माता की जानकी कांत स्मरणं सदा सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनं बोला पुंडलीक वरदे सद्गुरु ज्ञानानंद मूर्ति की आंजनेय स्वामी की समस्त भक्त मंडली की हरिनारायण 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 दुरित निवारण हरिनारायण दुरित निवारण परमानंद सदा शिव शंकर भक्त जन प्रिय पंकज लोचन भक्त जन प्रिय पंकज लोचन हरिनारायण तव दासो भजनारायण तव दासो हरिनारायण हरिनारायण सर्वत्र गोविंद नाम संकीर्तनम सद्गुरु चरणारविंदाभ्यां नमो नमः शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये श्रीकान्तो मातुलो यस्य जननी सर्वमङ्गला जनकशङ्करो देवः तं वन्दे कुञ्जराननम् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्व विग्रहम् श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्र योगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्र उपास्महे प्रह्लाद नारद पराशर पुंडलीक व्यासंबरीश शुक शौनक भीष्म दर्भ्यान् रुक्मांगद अर्जुन वशिष्ठ विभीषणादि पुण्यानिवाल परम भागवतान् स्मरामि विसृज्य योधीते मन्नामानि निरन्तरं कुलकोटि समायुक्तो लभते मामकं पदम् विष्णोर्गानं च नृत्यं च नटनञ्च विशेषतः ब्रह्मन् ब्राह्मणजातीनां कर्तव्यं नित्यकर्मवत् कालक्षेपो न कर्तव्यः क्षीणमायुः क्षणे क्षणे यमस्य करुणा नास्ति कर्तव्यं हरिकीर्तनं हरे नामैव 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 मम जीवनं कलौ नास्त्येव 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 गतिः अन्यथा न अहं वसामि वैकुण्ठे न योगी
Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to each and every one of you who are here to celebrate the Satchidananda Nataraja Samarpana Mela this week. My name is Teresa Palayur, and I am one of Sri Kalaimamani's Natarajan's senior-most disciples. I began my journey in Bharatanatyam at the age of 5 under his tutelage in Dubai. Dance classes in my first 2 years seemed like a chore, bland and uninteresting. But the moment my teacher started with the basics of Abhinaya in the form of a padam and pure nritta pieces like the Tillana, a whole new world unraveled before my very eyes, the lasting power of storytelling. What was until then dormant inside me rose up with a passion instilled in me by my guru, whom I fondly call Uncle. Watching him perform exquisite Abhinaya sequences during practice sessions brought tears to my eyes. I have yet to see a dancer portray such a wide range of emotion and give it strong verisimilitude, such as Uncle would. He forever changed my approach towards dance and always made me believe what he always believed in, and that which I never did, that I could be a fine dancer if I set my mind to it and engaged in rigorous practice. Then began a quest for the next 7 years to find perfection in my craft. He constantly challenged me with tough adavas and emotive sequences and instilled discipline in my motion. His mantra was always, whatever adava you execute, execute with perfection and grace. In his eyes, something simple, performed flawlessly, held greater worth than ornate sequences and heavy flourishes done in a tawdry manner. Less was always more. Hailing from the illustrious tradition of dance drama in Melatur, the famous Bhagavata Mela, Uncle was the maestro of Abhinaya, and this unique aesthetic lent him his ability to immerse himself in his art and sublimate it. It was unparalleled. I was always in awe of how he had internalized the art of choreography itself without even trying to. There was no method to his madness, no preparation from his end before classes, or even ponderous pauses during the process. He gleaned ragas and thalams by ear, and while the music played, he danced. Once he did it, it was hard for him to remember what he had just showed us. It was up to us to tell him what we had seen and absorbed. Such was his mastery over his art that he got lost in it. He never second-guessed a mudra or adava. The ad hoc brilliance was simply indescribable. His style of dance was direct and forthcoming and devoid of intrigue or esotericism. There was no alternate spirituality, only spirituality. There was an inexorable truth to his artistry, one filled with pure and simple ingredients, soul, passion, and perfection. I was to realize years later how his practice of Natyadharmi, which he unwittingly imparted to us, formed the cornerstone of my education of Varnams, be it in Bharatanatyam or Mohiniyattam, of that matter even theatre, which I dabbled in during my university days. When we performed the Dakshavatam, he gave me the part of the Narsimha avatar. Back then, I have to admit, I did not have a full appreciation of the significance of that role and what it meant to him. The Lord Narsimha, all he told me was, you need to do it well and I trust you. It was again in hindsight that I understood the gravitas of the role that was handed down to me. Narsimha avatar was his lifeblood, the fulcrum around which both his life and his spirituality revolved. Having learnt under great masters such as Ketapa Pillai, uncle was learned, but he kept his art refreshingly liberated from the trappings of pedantry. Dance classes, grueling as they may have been under an unrelenting guru such as him, it is where I forged strong friendships and bonds with the fraternity of aspiring dancers. After classes and breaks were filled with cheerful camaraderie, and uncle would slip back into his usual self and share a few laughs and anecdotes with us. I shall always remember him for the warmth and care he bestowed upon me every day of the 10 years that he taught me. When I fell seriously ill with hepatitis A, he called my father almost every day to inquire after me and even visited me as I recovered. Years later, when illness was to plague me again, he was the strident force behind my father, giving him strength and comfort. These are my memories of my teacher that are branded in my heart. Tutoring under him was never a revolving door, but a deeply personal commitment to nurture in which he poured his heart and his soul. There was a constant refrain in our ears: you have to dance in order to become a dancer. To him, you could come freighted with tomes of excellence on dance and dance academia, but you are not a dancer until you live through the mistakes, rinse and repeat, and go through the pain it takes to just dance every single day. I will take you back to an incident that happened during an ordinary day of class when I was 13. We were all asked to perform solo instead of as a group, which was the usual way of learning. This happens occasionally, but that day, when one of my friends was done with her turn, I brazenly commented on how her timing was incorrect and one of her other was just plain wrong, and how it could have been done differently. Angered at my undeserved audacity, uncle looked me in the eyes and said, "Ichu, I saw your item when it was your turn, and it was far from perfect. Critiquing someone else's rendition or pointing out their mistakes will never help obfuscate your own shortcomings. You have to dance to be a dancer." What was until then an ordinary day gave me an extraordinary life lesson on humility and dedication. I have never forgotten since the schooling that I received that day, and even today I marvel at how I have applied that sagely advice to every facet of my life. An acute awakening to the fact that in order to be the best, you have to start your journey with utmost humility and self introspection. He taught me that you need to learn technique in order to transcend it, and that I hold dear to my heart. Thank you. Today I will be performing Ananda Nadamaduadilai in praise of Lord Shiva and in honor of my late Guru, Sri Kalemamani S. Natarajan. The song goes thus: O Lord Shiva, the Nataraja who dances upon Chidambaram, anyone who falls at your feet and worships you will never suffer defeat. You are the one with endless, infinite form. Brilliant light shines from your crescent moon, and I can hear the ringing of your anklets in my ears. Ananda Nadamaduadilai, இந்த ராகம் பூர்வி கல்யாணி, set to ஆதி தாளம்.
Namaskaram. My name is Kritika. I live in New Jersey. I work as a software engineer in a bank over here. I started learning from Natarajan sir and Priyaka at the age of 8, and I continued learning till about age 17. That's when I did my Arangetram in Dubai. My experience from Natarajan sir goes back to when I first met him. I remember that day. In fact, it was him who came and picked us up. My family and myself, we had just come from India not many months ago, and we didn't even have a car. It was sir who came and picked us up from a bus stop and took us to his home, and that's where my dance classes started. From that day till today, I am only at awe at how humble and inviting and nurturing their family has been towards all of us. And I continue even to this day to remember how the dance class felt when I entered. So sir would come back from office at 5 o'clock. His ritual would be to shower, light the valakku, light the udavati, and when the whole house would smell of that sandalwood agarbatti, that's when our dance class would start. I still remember that fragrance in my mind, and that's what used to make that experience so divine and memorable for us. I'm so grateful that I learned dance from a guru who dedicated himself and everything that he did to the Lord and Almighty. I'm so happy that they were a big part of my childhood, which I will never forget. Today I would like to dedicate a kriti, Guruleka Yatuvanti, in Ragam Gauri Manohari, composed by Saint Tyagaraja. This song describes the importance of the Guru himself. The meaning of the song goes something like this. No matter how virtuous or qualified one may be, without the grace of the Guru, one can never know himself. No matter how qualified or virtuous one may be, without the knowledge imparted by the Guru, friend of Saint Tyagaraja, one cannot destroy the sorrow in their heart. I am honored to present this kriti with my mother, Srimati Radha Sridhar, dedicating this to my Guru, Sri Natarajan sir.
నమస్కారం. గురులేఖయటువంటి గునికి తెలియకపోదు, గురులేఖయటువంటి గునికి తెలియకపోదు, గురులేఖయటువంటి గురికి 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 తెలియకపోదు. కరువైన హృద్రోగ, కరువైన హృద్రోగ పోదు గురులేక ఎటువంటి గురికి తెలియక పోదు. తనువు సుత ధనరార ఆయాద బాలవులు జనియించి చేదరు జాలిని కరుణతో. తనువు సుత ధనరార దాయాది బాలవులు జనియించి చేదరు జాలిని కరుణతో. మనసునందక సేయు వందనుచు మనసునందక సేయు వందనుచు తత్వబోధన చేసి కాపాడ త్యాగరాజతుడను. తత్వబోధన చేసి కాపాడ త్యాగరాజతుడను. తత్వబోధన చేసి కాపాడ త్యాగరాజతుడను. తత్వబోధన చేసి కాపాడ త్యాగరాజతుడను. గురులేక ఎటువంటి గురికి తెలియక పోదు. గురులేక ఎటువంటి గురికి తెలియక పోదు.
Thank you, Priyaka, and everybody for this opportunity. We are blessed to be a part of this Aradhana celebration for Natarajan sir.
Thank you, Priya.
Dance has always been therapeutic for me. I always experiment with it. Choreographing and teaching a mixed style and directing theme dances are my forte. This art has opened many doors for me to walk into the world of modeling, short film making, music direction, etc. Dance has always been a part of me, and I should say that I am truly blessed to have been trained under my one and only Guru, Sri Kalelamani S. Natarajan. It was back in 1984 at the age of 6 that I had joined master's classes in Dubai. Master was how we used to call him with devotion. I believe that there exists only a thin line between the four creators in our life. Devam, the formless presence without which nothing exists. Mata and Pita, the causes behind one's own form. And lastly, one owes one's mental, intellectual, emotional and spiritual development to one's Guru. But it's difficult to get a committed Guru. A Guru who is committed to his art and to his disciples. And I can proudly say, my Guru Natarajan Master falls into that league. Namaste. The four creators in our lives. Devam, the formless presence without which nothing exists. Mata Pita, the causes behind one's own form. And last but not the least, the Guru, to whom one owes one's own intellectual, emotional, and spiritual development. It is very difficult to find a committed a guru who is committed to his art, committed to his disciples. And I should say, I was really lucky to have such a guru, Sri S. Natarajan Master. In the old Gurukul Sampradayam, the Guru Mata had an equal importance as the Guru. And here's where I want to speak about Anuvanti as well. Sharing my experience with Master and Anuvanti, there are a lot of things that would come, that's there in my memory that I hold very close to me. But this particular experience is about, I was the first student of Master to have an Arangetam performance in solo. I enjoyed a lot of privileges, though it was physically and mentally taxing. I used to have practice sessions every day for 7 hours. And I still remember Master was so excited to teach all his favorite items to me. He was quite unwell during that time, and it was then that Priyaka pitched in. I'm not sure whether I was Priyaka's first disciple, but she was also my guru. And my mother used to accompany me every time I used to attend my dance classes, and she used to sit throughout the training session. Krishna, Ennatapam Chedane Yashoda. And my mother teared up seeing, because it was all the motherly emotion of Yashoda that the piece was portraying, and also my grandma's name was Yashoda. But during the choreography, Master had sequenced a particular part where Yashoda was feeding Krishna and Krishna bit her. So when Master emoted this, my mother immediately reacted saying that I was too young to show that emotion, and my mom was not comfortable me, showing that on stage. And Master replied saying that dance is an art where human emotions are expressed rawly. And he, being a man who's never experienced any of the woman emotions related to woman, and if he can emote that, then I can do it as well. My mother was convinced, but I had my inhibitions being a teenager at that time. I think I was having my Arangetam at the age of 17. And it's when Priyaka again showed me how exactly to emote it. And I should say, today, if people appreciate the way I express or emote flawlessly during my dance performances, I owe it to Priyaka. During these practice sessions, I was fortunate to receive the love and affection of my Guru Mata Anuvanti. During those days, Anuvanti would, whatever, because I used to be there from morning till evening, whatever food she makes for the family, she would keep a small share aside for me, because I was a kid and I was practicing from morning till evening, so I would get tired, so she would give me my share at that time. Also, she would make buttermilk with lots of salt and give me a glass of it twice a day, so that I don't get cramps during my practice sessions or during my stage performance. So, and whenever I used to get really tired, and she would ask Master to give me a break. So all that is so very close to my heart, I still remember Master and Anuvanti accompanying us to take the best of silk saris, the best of color combinations from Nalli's Dubai. They just wanted all the best for me. And it's very rare to get such kind of love and affection and care as well. Today, when I think of Master and Anuvanti not being there with us,
The pain and loss is enormous. I wholeheartedly pay all my respects and pranamam to my Guru and Anu Auntie, two pure and beautiful souls. My pranamam. Thank you.
A Kalaimamani Award winner, an electrical engineer, a great husband, an even greater father, the greatest epitome of a guru, and last but not the least, a legendary artist. And who are we talking about? It has been almost 2 decades since I last saw him, and yet every memory of our loving encounter leaves me with a smile, also owing many lessons of my life to this great man, Natarajan Mama, as we all fondly called him. I remember meeting him when I was just about 8, and I was so scared whether he would take me as a student or not, because we heard from a lot of people that he takes very few students who are absolutely dedicated and devoted, and he has this sort of an intuition based on which he decides whether the student is ready to be taught. And I think what he saw is whether the student can absorb the humility of the child. And well, I went there and I remember being so intimidated. I'm not a coy person, but I was so coy in front of him. And he looked at me and then he gave me this smile, wry smile, and I looked at him back and I smiled at him. And bam, 1 month later, I was doing a show with him, a performance with him. I think I remember it's called Chunuki Khoj. And it was in the Indian consulate, and it was a great performance. It was my first performance with Mama and Priyaka, and I can never forget that. So he taught us to walk like a goddess, but also told us to be a warrior princess. He used to work in Dubai and then founded the Mela Dance Festival every year in its entire grandiosity, where thousands flocked to get a glimpse of the goddess he portrayed in his avatar. Some incident that I remember from my past, okay? So I was terribly hurt and injured on my elbow while playing basketball as a tween. And like most mothers, my mom just brushed it off saying it was a sprain. Funnily, she also said if I danced, it would get better. That's more so because we had a huge performance lined up post that in a month or so. When I went for the class, Natarajan Mama saw me struggling because I couldn't do the step, and because I had tried dancing with it, it had turned almost blue-black. Slow reaction, eventually getting there. What he does, he immediately summons my mom, and we live nearby, so she could just walk down and come, and that's what she would do to come and pick me up, you know. So whenever she comes to pick me up or something, she doesn't really carry her purse because we live nearby, and then dinner time, she just has to pick me and go home, right? But this time, Mama patiently calls her inside and says, okay, why have you not taken her to the doctor? Doctor ke to pola. And my mom glares at me. I'm already scared because my mom used to beat me up. So, and she said, Mama, it'll get all right. Okay, since you're saying, I'll take her tomorrow. And he said, no, you'll take her now. And knowing how my mom would give some random excuse, like she usually does, he handed out a note and said, since you don't have your purse, take this, and called for a taxi and told me to take the doctor. And upon taking the x-ray, the orthopedic surgeon told us, okay, you guys arrived just at the nick of time, else gangrene would have set in and she would have lost the arm. Now, he's exalted to God, right? I have my arm because of him. And I'm so fortunate that I still have it with me. And thank God. Now he's exalted to God, right? Like, thank Mama, thank God, same thing. Anyway, so Mama, Anu, Mami, Priyaka, who I am so fortunate to have learned to dance again under, Swarnaka, Deepaka, all 3 sisters, will always remain my family. I don't know for how many more lives that we take. So when Mama used to teach us dance, he would throw the stick at us at times, at me, I've gotten it, for improper aramandi, or he would yell at us, but instantly he would adore us and he'd crack some childish jokes. And I would literally want to cry when he reprimanded me, but I would go home and practice so hard just to receive his validation in the next class. And I would do this all the time, and I think because of which I can dance the way I can dance now, and even if I don't practice for many years, the basic is so strong that when I start practicing, the hand position, the leg position, everything, those nuances is what he focused upon, and I think I owe everything regarding dance to him. Mama has inspired us in every manner possible. At that time, there was no Google or Twitter or Facebook or social media to see how great he was or what awards he has. But we knew he had a shield at home, Kalaimamani shield, but that's about it. But he's one of the most humble men I've ever seen. More than how we danced, he always appreciated even the slightest effort towards improvement. Some of us, of course, were innate dancers and some of us were not, and we knew. But he never, ever put anyone down, but only encouraged to believe in ourselves and the hard work we put in. He's an uber progressive gentleman whose virtues and values I shall cherish and remember beyond my being. Such men are immortal, etched in the history of art and in a million hearts. Mama, this one's for you. I shall love you forever, and I count myself incredibly lucky and fortunate to have met you in this lifetime. Also, I secretly believe we will meet again and keep doing so. I can't wait to see the banter between you, Mommy, and my mom. And I know and believe this is not the end. Your loving student and daughter, Shweta Shekhar.
గోవిందం భజరే మానస గోపాలం భజరే గోవిందం భజరే మానస గోపాలం భజరే గోవింద గోపాల 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 గోవింద గోవింద గోవిందం భజరే మానస గోపాలం భజరే 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 సర్వత్ర గోవింద నామ సంకీర్తనం